Hello everyone, with Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on the weather across Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean. It is Tuesday evening, August 4, 2026. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you all like this video. I'd really appreciate it if you all get this video up to 100 likes. If you don't know by now, that's how the YouTube algorithm works. We all like the video and then the YouTube algorithm pushes the video out to more persons who are in the path of these tropical systems so that we can keep everyone safe, especially during the peak months of Atlantic hurricane season. That's August through to October. Share this video with your friends, your co-workers, your relatives, and even your church brethren, and subscribe if you haven't yet done so. Please ensure that you all utilize the progress bar that's located at the bottom of the video, as well as the timestamps that are located not only in the comment section but the video description, so that you can skip to the points in the video that you want to see the most in order to save time, because we know that the videos over here with Jamaica can be very long. Leave a comment down below letting me know what the has been like in your area recently. Also, feel free to ask any weather related question that you might have about the future of the weather in your specific area. Taking a look at the U.S. National Hurricane Center 7-day graphical tropical weather outlook that just came out at 7:05 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, which is actually 6:05 p.m. Jamaica time. As you can see, tropical cyclone activity is not expected during the next 7 days, and this is the reason why across the Atlantic there's nothing that's trying to develop, nothing that's trying to organize itself at this time. There's a few troughs, frontal systems, and tropical waves here and there. Nothing right now that's trying to acquire the next name on the list, which is Cristobal. Taking a look at the surface map of the Atlantic for this evening, there's actually a tropical wave across Jamaica right now apparently. It extends all the way down into Panama and western Colombia. You can also see the broken orange lines right here to the north of the Lesser Antilles associated with a trough. To the north of that trough we have the high pressure ridge dome that we know is responsible for sending all of the easterly trade winds across the main development region into the Caribbean. We can also see a tropical wave right here equidistant from Africa and the Lesser Antilles, and there's actually another tropical wave right here across the Cabo Verde Islands off the west coast of Africa that's definitely intertwined with the red line that's associated with the intertropical convergence zone that extends from northeastern South America all the way over into the west coast of Africa. And if we take a look at the visible satellite images of the Atlantic before we lost sunlight, we can make out the clouds right here associated with that trough to the north of the Lesser Antilles. There's supposedly a tropical wave somewhere in here. Can't really make it out. I think I can make out the fast moving low to mid-level clouds pushing from east west towards the direction of Nicaragua. We can make out the clouds associated with that tropical wave right in here, especially across the southern portions right down here, and the other tropical wave more so to the south of the Cabo Verde Islands. Sorry for the glitchy satellite imagery, boy. I don't know what's happening this year with the GOES 19. It's really a mess this year for sure. Either way, we can definitely see the low to mid-level flow of the clouds being steered from east to west, all courtesy of the ridge of high pressure to the north. We'll be talking more about the rest of the Caribbean weather later on. Let us focus our attention on the prediction that was made in yesterday's video about the weather across Jamaica for today, Tuesday, August 4, 2026. It was stated that rain could have been the forecast across some western parishes in Jamaica on Tuesday afternoon. I know that when we're talking about western parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Cornwall, like Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, Westmoreland, and St. Elizabeth. And what ended up happening? At around 4:25 p.m., the visible close-up satellite images of Jamaica were posted not only here on our Twitter page with the Jamaica, but they were also posted on our Instagram page with the Jamaica, on our TikTok page with the Jamaica, and on our Facebook page with the Jamaica 876. So if you have one of those social media platforms, please ensure that you follow us there as we make posts throughout the day that you cannot afford to miss. So you can see the clouds are bringing somewhat of isolated thundershower activity to sections of western Jamaica, including Hanover, Westmoreland, northern St. Elizabeth, central to southern St. James, intersections of central to southern Trelawney. And we also had some activity across northern Manchester, intersections of central to southwestern St. Anne, far northern Clarendon, far northern St. Catherine. Might have gotten on some of the activity. So it was not only across the western parishes, but inland areas especially, of some central parishes, so northern Manchester, northern Clarendon, southern St. Anne into northern St. Catherine, as you can see here by the visible close-up satellite images, the clouds building across inland areas of central Jamaica and across western parishes. And we also saw where the upper level wind shear was blowing those cloud tops towards the south, just like what we said would have happened in yesterday's video. Definitely bring more overcast skies to section of some southern parishes, and we see it all even better right here on the infrared close-up satellite images. We see the blues into the greens, yellows, oranges that represents that cumulonimbus cloud cover, not to mention the sparkling white dots that we know represent some amount of lightning strikes, if not lightning flashes, extending from inland areas of central Jamaica all the way over into Hanover and Westmoreland for sure, and those cloud tops clearly being sheared off from north to south by that upper level wind shear. And even the Jamaican Doppler radar images confirm the rainfall that took place. We can definitely see the rain bands right in here, the greens into the yellows into the oranges across inland areas of central Jamaica, pushing towards the west into Westmoreland and section of Hanover and other into Elizabeth. Some decent light to moderate teams, some slightly heavy rainfall for sure, as you can see right there. And if we take a look at the live camera from See Jamaica's YouTube channel, that was showing what was happening in the halfway tree St. Andrew area today. As you can see, it was definitely sunny, almost looking like an earthquake was taking place, but it was definitely just windy, I'm sure. As you can see, definitely sunny, people walking about, going about their business, people in their vehicles going about their business. Nothing in the way of bad weather taking place at that time. And if you'd like to see more, by the way, look at how hazy the skies are in the hills of St. Andrew, to confirm that we're definitely getting on some Saharan dust in our neck of the woods today. Alright, so if you'd like to see more live streams like this, just visit See Jamaica on YouTube. We have these live streams all for you to view for free, so subscribe today to this channel so that you don't miss out. And even the total accumulated precipitation for the past 24 hours from the CIMH, that's the Caribbean Institute for Meteorology and Hydrology website, is confirming where we had that rainfall today, especially across western Jamaica and inland areas of some central parishes, and maybe across the north coast in the morning. I mean, early this morning I saw some clouds to the north of us. Some of them made it as far south across coastal northern Jamaica. Portland might have gotten some isolated thunder showers, including St. Mary, but nothing crazy at all. By the time the sun was up, everything had died down. And we definitely have some comments that came in from some of our followers about what the weather is like in their area today. On our X page, we had Fest Genius, who posted 1 hour ago, "We're drying and dying like mosquitoes, tell me about it." We also have one comment here on our Facebook platform, Sylvia Banda, who posted 2 hours ago, "Overcast conditions and thundering in the Brownstone St. Anne area." Thanks for confirming, Sylvia. We also have on our Instagram page, Malan_1God_ posting "strong wind from morning." We also have Randale Green posting on our YouTube community platform 1 hour ago, "Good evening, Weather Jamaica." Good evening, Randale. We have some rain and thunderstorm in Brownstone, St. Anne, Jamaica now. We have Chirac Baby 3492 posting 2 hours ago, "Dry, dry, dry in the west." And the Arnett Martin 9767 posting 1 hour ago, "Old Harbor dry, dry for the past 2 months now." Thank you all for confirming what the weather is like in your area for today. Alright, so let us reload the very latest still imagery from the Weather Nerds website, the latest Jamaican Doppler radar imagery, the latest Guantanamo Bay US Navy radar imagery, and the latest Cayman radar. We want to see exactly what's taking place across the island right now. Alright, so the latest still imagery from the Weather Nerds website is showing 23:35 UTC, which is actually 6:35 p.m. So this just came out, what, 13 minutes ago, or 14 minutes ago, considering that it's 6:49 p.m. right now. As you can see, most of the clouds that brought us rainfall across central to western Jamaica have died down. Just some clouds to the north of us being sheared off to the south, leaving some whitish patches that represents the cirrus clouds. I also see an isolated thunder shower right here to the west of Hanover. You see the greens, you see the sparkling white dots of something taking place out sea to the west of there. And we're going to be having confirmation, the latest Jamaican Doppler radar imagery right here. And that's going to be showing the latest one. Alright, so this is 23:19. See, so that's 6:19 p.m. Nothing across the island right now. I think we can even make out the rain bands to the west of us. Definitely showing what's taking place over here. And if we take a look at the latest Guantanamo Bay US Navy radar imagery, not showing much of anything across Haiti, northeastern Jamaica, or eastern Cuba. Just some rain bands right here to the far south of Bayamo. And if we take a look at the Cayman radar also showing some of the rain bands that affected Cuba today. And we also see at the end of the Cayman radar the rain band associated with the thunderstorm cloud that we see off to the west of Hanover right there, the greens into the yellows. Definitely can see it even better right there. Alright, so what's happening right now? The live camera from Jamaica's YouTube channel is showing what's taking place in the Ocho St. Anne area. As you can see, it is definitely fair. People walking about and driving about, going about their business. Nothing in the way of bad weather taking place at this time, and that should be the order of the evening into the night. Taking a look at the temperatures right now, we can see about 28 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 29 degrees Celsius in Kingston, and by about 4 a.m. on Wednesday, temperature should dip down to about 26 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 24 degrees Celsius in Kingston. Taking a look at the temperature forecast for tomorrow, this map from the GFS is valid for 21Z on Wednesday, which is actually around 4 p.m. on Wednesday. We see the island painted in some slight oranges that represents at least 2 degrees Celsius above average. I know that the average temperatures for the month of August across Jamaica is around 90.9 degrees Fahrenheit. When that's converted from Fahrenheit to degrees Celsius that we use here in Jamaica, that's around 32.72 degrees Celsius. So if we're going to be receiving up to 2 degrees Celsius above average because of those oranges, it should be anywhere from 32.72 to 34.72 degrees Celsius at most for Jamaica's temperature on Wednesday. And we have some tips right here to beat the heat as usual. It states here: seek shade when outside, eat fresh, try eating cold foods such as salads and fruit, rest, make sure you get enough sleep and rest if you're feeling tired, soak, take a cool shower bath to help you cool down, and I cannot stress enough the importance of keeping hydrated throughout the day. Drink lots of water even if you're not thirsty, and put away those sugary drinks and drink water instead. Taking a look at the dry air and relative humidity map, we know that the dry air is represented by what we see here on the candle, right? That's the light shades of browns into the darkest shades of browns, humidity represented by the light shades of greens into the darkest shades of greens. And across the island tomorrow, we're painted in some light shades of green, so some slight humidity in our neck of the woods, so it could be feeling even hotter than normal, stickier, sweatier for sure. And not only are we going to be experiencing the humidity, but unfortunately still getting in on the Saharan dust. So the Saharan dust affected us today, August 4, and it's going to be affecting us on August 5. August 6, maybe a slight break, but we see the low end of the scale in terms of Saharan dust still pushing through in the greens. Either way, I hope that you still have your meds handy. You know what the Saharan dust can do. Can definitely cause hazy skies, not to mention trigger some amount of respiratory illnesses in some persons, asthma, sinusitis, and we see that even more Saharan dust is getting ready to push from the main development region to the Caribbean eventually. So, have to take care of our health. Taking a look at the wave forecast for tomorrow, still seeing that we have high waves to the far south of Jamaica. That's where we have the dark blues into the purples and the pinks represents anywhere from 2 to 2.5 meter wave heights. And all of this is because of the strong easterly winds that are averaging anywhere from 20 up to 25 knots in the bright greens and yellows. And if we zoom in on Jamaica's wave forecast for tomorrow, to the north of Portland, 1.2 meter wave height expected, south of St. Thomas 1.4, north of St. Anne 1 meter wave height expected, south of Clarendon 1.5, north of Hanover 0.7 of a meter wave height expected, south of Westmoreland 1 meter wave height expected. And all of this is because of the winds that are expected tomorrow. To the north of Hanover, 15 knot winds from the east. To the south of St. Thomas, 13 knot winds from the east. South of Manchester, 13 knot winds from the southeast. And we see where that air is expected to pile up, especially across this area right here. That's where we're seeing the least amount of winds. Maybe sections of some central and western parishes. So this is where we could see some of these low-level clouds becoming mid-level rain clouds, if not upper-level cumulonimbus clouds, to bring us that daytime heating rainfall. Maybe across some central to southwestern parishes, if not southern and western parishes. And the upper-level winds are going to be coming in from the northwest tomorrow. So if we actually get some thunderstorms to fire up right in here, cloud toss will be sheared off towards the southeast. This could definitely favor more of the rainfall across sections of southern Jamaica. I mean, we've been dying for some. We might just get it tomorrow. And if we take a look at the actual rainfall forecast maps, this map from the Euro and this map from the GFS, they are both valid for 4 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's actually around 3 a.m. Jamaica time. And what do both maps show? The fact that there could be some amount of blows representing rainfall across far eastern Jamaica. Maybe eastern Portland, eastern St. Thomas could get none that early morning rainfall. Then by around 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, it's actually 7 a.m. Jamaica time, we still see the blues representing rainfall across eastern Jamaica, even spilling into coastal St. Mary, coastal St. Anne on the Euro GFS. Also shows the rainfall across Portland into St. Thomas, and we see the rain bands right here to the north of St. Mary and north of St. Anne. Then finally, by around 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually 2 p.m. Jamaica time, we see that rainfall across sections of eastern, central, and western parishes, but clearly there's a concentration of the rainfall across some southern and western parishes. Notice how white the coastal northern areas are, and we see that on the GFS as well. So maybe section of Kingston, St. Andrew. We don't see St. Catherine painted here, but it could happen. We also see sections of Clarendon into Manchester, St. Elizabeth into Westmoreland, Hanover, section of St. James also painted in the blues represent rainfall. I mean, look at St. Elizabeth and Manchester, even the greens into the yellows, even more rainfall. Don't get upset if you don't get rainfall, but clearly there's going to be rainfall for southern and western parishes according to the Euro and the GFS, even although we have Saharan dust that's expected to, possibly dry out the air. We'll say it plays out, and even the total accumulated precipitation forecast maps are in agreement that there could be some amount of rainfall affecting us within the next 24 hours. Both maps right here from the Euro and the GFS are showing all the rainfall that's expected from now up until 10 p.m. on Wednesday. Euro going up to at least 0.18 of an inch of rainfall. GFS going up to at least 1 inch of rainfall. We'll say it plays out. Whatever happens, we just have to take it because we're in the month of August. And in St. James, we usually receive 159 millimeters of rainfall this month. That's about the same as 6.2 inches of rainfall. While in St. Elizabeth, we usually receive 106 millimeters of rainfall this month. That's about the same as 4.2 inches of rainfall. And if you would like to find out what your specific parish usually receives in terms of rainfall for the month of August or for the entire year, you can visit nomadseason.com, and that website will show you that information. Alright, so we're going to be looking at what the next 7 days have in store for us according to the latest Euro and GFS supercomputer model runs that came out today. So keep your eyes focused on the timestamp right here at the top as we go out to the next one, John 68 hours. That's sent for the next 7 days. Keep your eyes focused on Jamaica right here as we look for all of this that we see on the key on the right. That's the reds, the oranges, the yellows, and the greens represent millimeters of rainfall. So let's see what's going to be taking place. Alright, so 12Z on Thursday is actually 7 a.m. We see some rainfall across coastal northern Jamaica on Thursday morning, according to the Euro. Then on Thursday afternoon, we see that rainfall across eastern, central, western Jamaica. What do we see on the GFS? Thursday morning on the GFS has rainfall across northeastern Jamaica. Then on Thursday afternoon, what do we see? Rainfall across some northern and western parishes. What do we see on Friday morning? On Friday morning here on the Euro, we see rainfall across northeastern Jamaica. Friday afternoon, rainfall across eastern, central, and western parishes. What does the GFS show for Friday morning? Friday morning on the GFS, nothing. Friday afternoon, maybe some rainfall across northwestern Jamaica. So we have some contrast here and there. On Saturday morning, maybe some rainfall across eastern Jamaica, maybe central, coastal, northern, and southern parishes. And then on Saturday afternoon, we see rainfall across eastern, central, western Jamaica here on the Euro. What does the GFS show? Saturday morning, nothing. Saturday afternoon, maybe some isolated showers across some central and western parishes. What do we see on Sunday morning? Sunday morning working? Doesn't seem like it's working at all. So 6D. Let me see if I reload it, if it will make a difference. Will it work? Alright, here we go. So on a Sunday morning, right? Yes, Sunday morning. Here we go. Alright, so on Sunday morning here on the Euro, we see some rainfall across far eastern Jamaica. Then on Sunday afternoon, isolated showers across some northern and western parishes. What does the GFS show for Sunday morning? Sunday morning, maybe some isolated showers across far eastern Jamaica. Sunday afternoon, rainfall across the far west. What do we see on Monday morning? On Monday morning, oh, here we go again. Looks like some glitching going on. Let's reload it one last time. Here we go. So Sunday morning now, right? Or Monday morning now. Monday morning, nothing at all here on the Euro model for us. Monday afternoon, maybe some rainfall across eastern, central, and western parishes. What does the GFS show for Monday morning? Monday morning, maybe some isolated showers across the far eastern end. Monday afternoon, Not really seeing much of anything. And we're about to stop it right here at the end of the 168 hours. So this is valid for Tuesday, August 11. We're seeing some rainfall across some southern and eastern parishes. What does the GFS show for the same time? Not really seeing much of anything. So we have some contrast here. Euro showing something for us. GFS not so much. We'll say it plays out. And if we take a look at the total accumulated precipitation forecast maps, both maps right here from the Euro and the GFS are showing all the rainfall that's expected across the Western Atlantic from now up until Tuesday, August 11. And we can clearly see that the most rainfall over the next 7 days should be across sections of Northern and South America into sections of Central America. I mean, these are the areas that are painted in the dark reds, purples, and the pinks that we see here on the camera, right? That represents anywhere from 2 to 5 inches of rainfall. So there could be some amount of isolated flash flooding in some of these countries. Even see maybe up to an inch or maybe 2 or more in the northern Bahamas, Florida areas. And we see that it's not only the Euro model, the ECMWF that's showing this, but the GFS is also showing something similar. And we know that when they're showing something similar like this, the chances are higher for it to actually take place. And if we zoom in on Jamaica's rainfall totals for the next 7 days, not much change. Just like for the past couple of days, Euro model still showing that the most rainfall over the next 7 days should be across far eastern Jamaica. That we see painted what we see painted in the yellows represents maybe up to 38 millimeters of rainfall. GFS showing that the most rainfall over the next 7 days should be across western Jamaica. That we see painted not only in the yellows but even the oranges. That represents maybe anywhere from 30 up to 50 millimeters of rainfall. We'll see it actually plays out over the next 7 days. Whatever happens, I'll definitely be here to keep you posted if that occurs. Alright, so what's happening across the rest of the Caribbean basin? Not really seeing much of anything with the very glitchy satellite imagery. If we take a look at the Doppler radar images though, coming out of Puerto Rico, what's happening down there? We actually have some moisture, a lot of moisture to be honest. It makes sense to have some decent moisture pushing through associated with that trough to the north of the Lesser Antilles. We have a lot of moisture up there, so some of that spilling down into the Leeward Islands. We see hit or miss, light to moderate rainfall in all of these green spots. Section of northern Puerto Rico getting on some of the action. Areas in and around the Leeward Islands getting on some of the action as we speak. Even see some rain bands right here to the north of Barbados on the Barbados radar, already affecting sections of St. Vincent, St. Lucia, Martinique, sections of Dominica, and more to come. And if we take a look at the wider view of Doppler radar images, look at that rainfall across sections of Florida today, section of Cuba, section of the western Yucatan, northwest Guatemala, where we had a volcano eruption, or volcanic eruption today. Very impressive. Also see some rainfall across section of Honduras, some rainfall right here to the east of Nicaragua pushing into the west associated with that tropical wave that we mentioned earlier. Section of Venezuela right here getting on some rainfall too. But if we take a look at what the rainfall is expected within the next 24 hours, both maps right here from the Euro and the GFS are showing all the rainfall that's expected across the Western Atlantic from now up until 10 p.m. on Wednesday. We can clearly see that if it's not raining right now, it's expected within the next 24 hours. For sections of Florida, the Bahamas, Cuba, section of the Cayman Islands, Jamaica, Haiti, Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, the US and British Virgin Islands, Guadeloupe, Dominica, Martinique, St. Lucia, St. Vincent, Barbados, section of Guyana, Suriname, French Guiana, Venezuela, especially southern and northwestern Venezuela, Colombia into Panama, Costa Rica into Nicaragua, Honduras into El Salvador, Guatemala into Belize, and the Yucatan. We can clearly see that both the Euro and the GFS modes are in agreement for the most part. And that when they're in agreement like this, the chances are higher for it to actually take place. Alright, so what's happening here across the Eastern Pacific into the Central Pacific? We're watching two code yellows. So two entities that have a low chance of development within the next 7 days, a 20% chance at that. Very interesting. And if something should form right here in the Central Pacific, wonder what would take place. Very, very interesting. What name would it get? I mean, that name the other system got, that was Dolphin. That was a crazy name. And the Central Pacific had some crazy names for real. So Dolphin would be followed by what? Either way, the satellite images right here show that we have some moisture, some messes of moisture across the areas here that could possibly develop over the next 7 days. Let's see if something tries to acquire the name Hernan. Any at all. And if we take a look here on the Joint Typhoon Warning Centers page, no suspect areas across the Indian Ocean, but the Western Pacific very active. We're watching not only Typhoon Dolphin that we've been monitoring for the past couple of days to the south of Japan, but now to the west of the Philippines. We're watching Tropical Depression Kujira, so it could be a tropical storm very soon to the west of the Philippines, to the south of China, to the east of Vietnam right here. And we actually have a code yellow to the far east of Typhoon Dolphin, so something that has a low chance of development within the next 7 days. And we can see all of these entities here on the infrared. Tropical depression here, typhoon here, the code yellow right here, Japan here, South Korea, China, Taiwan, the Philippines here. And if we take a look at the latest here on the tropical depression, it's just right here to the west of the Philippines. As of the latest stats here, it is packing what is it packing? Is it packing? Yeah, it looks like it's packing what? It's actually very interesting, looking like it might just push east. Is that what I'm seeing? Yeah, looking like it might just push eastward. So it did a thing like this coming westward, and it's looking like it's gonna be pushing eastward. Either way, as of right now, it is packing 35 knot winds. I know that systems that pack anywhere from 34 to 64 knot winds are classified as tropical storms. So it's a low-end tropical storm right now if it has 35 knot wind, even though they say that it's a tropical depression right here, but they don't normally give tropical depressions name. So it has 35 knot wind. Maybe it's back to TD status, maybe flirting with TD status because it's on the border there, and we see a lot of 30 knots surrounding it. So it might have been a tropical depression at one point. So I'm guessing it maybe back down to tropical depression status right now. Either way, as you can see here, it's expected to push eastward back to the northern Philippines. So there could be some amount of flash flooding, especially considering that they have saturated ground. I mean, the system came over them from east to west. It's expected to make a U-turn back over them, unfortunately. So more rainfall. And regarding the latest here on Typhoon Dolphin, I think I heard somewhere overnight that it became a super typhoon once again and made landfall on one of these small islands here out in the Pacific, and then it's back now down to 105 knot wind. So if it has 105 knot wind, that means that it's back to Cat 3 status. That anywhere from 96 to 112 knot winds are classified as Cat 3. So it's back to category 3 status. It's expected to continue pushing westward, and then gradually, slowing down in the intensity, maybe 100 knots by the time it gets to the southern Japanese island right here, and then maybe back to 80 knots when it's getting ready to make landfall in eastern China. We have to definitely stay updated to see exactly what happens, because we have a lot of friends, relatives who live or work in this part of the world. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching.